Welcome everybody. This is the Kingdom Marriage Multipliers, and this is the KMM podcast. I welcome each and every one of you to the show. Don't bring that bad.
No, you brought it.
That bad
you brought it
in here.
You brought it.
How did I bring it?
It's a little warm.
I told you we had to get that fan.
And still ain't got one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm flapping in the wind.
Like, we have to start the show earlier. 5 hours. Get in here 5 minutes early.
Okay, I'm done. I'm through.
Okay.
I'm through.
All right, so how you doing today?
What's the motto? We're gonna call a thing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's been, I would say, would you call it? I wouldn't call it troubling. I would call it eye-opening.
Okay.
Last few days have been very, very eye-opening. I think. So what I wanted to talk about today was the shackles of unforgiveness. So when I wrote this on June 28th, I had every intention for that to be one of our talking points. It's just like our Heavenly Father, to take that off of my mind for a second, like not take it off of my mind, but took it out of the forefront of my mind and said, you can talk about that a little later. Because I got something, something is going to be cooking up, which brings us to July 8th, right? So he worked real fast, especially when you ain't paying attention to the timetable. So yeah, I would say it's been eye-opening last few days. It has definitely taught me that I need to continue to work on forgiving fast. It's like sometimes us as believers, we can sometimes think that some of these things we got it in the bag, and the Lord highlights another area, another level to it. And so then you realize that you truly, really don't have it really all in the bag. Like you might have some of it, but it ain't sold up. And it is something that me continuing to work on forgiving fast, I'm not going to say it's a surprise. It's not a surprise. I think I could say, yeah, that's something your girl got to continue to work on.
Why? How did you come to that realization that you may still need work with forgiving fast?
It would be trying to understand more, because there are generational curses that you and I have broken, and they are being revealed to us more and more. And the unpacking of the generational trauma that was put into our bag, right, through no doing of our own. It was just because the people before us didn't break them. So if they didn't break them, it had no choice but to transfer to your seed, and we were their seeds. I definitely feel like for myself, it's so much harder for me, because like forgiving a stranger for Carrie, it's like out of sight, out of mind. Example, when you and I went to the movies a few weeks ago, and that person in the parking lot thought we were trying to do something. And we weren't trying to do anything that they thought they were doing. We were just trying to back into a parking space rather than drive into the parking space. And you remember she started yelling, and the young lady was yelling obscene things out of the window because she thought we were trying to do one thing, but we were doing another. Mm-hmm. And when she realized that, she started screaming out apologies out of the window. Yeah, is what I'm saying. Okay, so
I remember now.
For a stranger, I don't too much care. You know what I'm saying? It's like out of sight, out of mind. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. They said that. I don't care. Because a lot of times what a stranger says to you doesn't hold much weight. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's a stranger in passing. It might irritate you, but it's the family. It's the people, the in-laws, the family you were born into. It's the family that you were adopted into. I think a lot of people struggle with forgiving, because in our mind, it's like, well, I'm a part of your family. How could you hurt me? I'm a part of your family. Why would you say something like that about me? Why would you do that to me? Especially if it's not warranted. I understand that it's sometimes that we can bring stuff up on ourselves. We could have a poor attitude and popping off. I don't know too many people that's just going to let you pop off, and then they not have a rebuttal. So I'm saying, so you can't necessarily be hurt behind their rebuttal when you was just over there running your mouth, or a person that keep putting their hands on somebody, and then that person finally, because a hit dog will holler. It's only so long that you're going to be able to back a dog into a corner before that dog come out like, listen, it's either do or die. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm tired of being in this corner. Like, I'm finna come out swinging. You either gonna kill me, I'm gonna be hurt. But either way, I'm coming up out this corner.
It's like that dog we watched last night. Buddy the dog on the dog whisperer.
Oh, yeah. It's like by hook or crook, it's coming up out of this corner. You as the villain, can you really be upset? Some people will find a way to be upset. You know what I'm saying? And so I know for me, it's really hard. And I think that, I got a revelation is because that God did call me and you to be the repairers of the breach in our family. And to break these generational curses, whatever they look like. And we break them not on our time, but on his time, because he reveals things to us when he deems it necessary, because it's through his grace and his mercy. He's like, okay, you strong enough. It's time for you to deal with this. We're going to deal with that. Okay. You strong enough. We're going to deal with that. You strong enough. We're going to deal with that. We're not going to worry about this over here because it's not time. So, yeah. So like right now, I think that revelation that I had got is he's like, my daughter, if I can get you past certain people in your life to do this work that I called you to do, then everybody else coming behind them is going to be a cakewalk. If I can get you past these people, and I'm going to get you past them, it's just going to be hard, but I'm going to carry you through. And I need you to understand that I'm with you because I promise to never leave you nor forsake you. So that if I could when I get you past these people in your life, then the rest of these people that's coming behind them, that's going to try to stand in your way, that's going to try to put up some form of opposition, you going to mow them over in my name because I called you here for a reason. These people didn't call you here. I called you here. You doing this work for my kingdom. You doing this work for my glory. You're not doing this stuff for self-gratification. You're not doing this for other people. Also, what is beginning to sink into my head and into my spirit is like, on here we talk about Tiffany Montgomery a lot, but another thing that she had said is that when you are called by God to be the repairer of the breach, you know that God has appointed you and anointed you to do this work. And it comes with uncovering hideous things that was done in your family. When it comes to airing out this stuff, because God says, let there be light. So when he says, let there be light, that means everything that's been done in your family that's cloaked in darkness and secrecy, he wants that exposed. It needs to be talked about because otherwise those spirits continue to fester and multiply in the darkness, in secrecy. So when he says, let there be light, that's what that man mean. Exposure. Talk about it because you're not the only person. You might not be the only person that needs to be set free. Somebody else in your family needs to be set free. When God calls you, when he hands you that mantle to do that work, your family is going to hate you for that. Your family not going to love you for that. They're not going to praise you for that. They're not going to give you no accolades for that. They're going to be mad because they're going to be like, why you putting other people in our business? They're going to be mad because, so-and-so had an addiction problem. They're going to be mad. So-and-so dead and gone. So why you sitting up here talking about what the dead done did? Or, so-and-so, they didn't mean it like that. They only did that because so-and-so did it to them. Or why you bringing up old stuff? Or I wasn't there, but because I know so-and-so and I truly don't think that it happened like you saying that it happened. Or why we talking about stuff because so-and-so ain't here to defend themselves. A plethora of things to keep you silent. Why would you say that? You embarrassing the family. Why would you say that? Why would you even want somebody to know something like that about you? Or what's the favorite one? We family and we got to stick together. And all of it is utter BS. And I think that paired with the things that have been done to people and then pair it with, I think of it as peanut butter and jelly. You pair what the things that have been done to other people and then you pair it with your family condemning you because you want to expose it. Feels like that junk go hand to hand. And that demon with this other demon mesh together and they wreak havoc on your bloodline. So now that you got these two demons, and it's resting on this person's shoulders. Heck yeah, they struggle with a whole bunch of stuff. They either an offender, they become an offender, they have addiction issues, they tolerate abuse, they timid, very passive, quiet. don't want to say nothing because they don't want no smoke. They don't want to disrupt nothing. They choose bad partners, and then they don't, and a whole king caboodle. And we sit here as a people wondering why we can't get nowhere, or we don't go anywhere. It's like what one sister said. We had seen her on TV. She said we tend to be a people that go out of our way to tear each other down just for being different. I'm not talking about wearing your hair different or doing your nails different or dressing different, doing your makeup different. But I'm talking about the difference in, okay, God told me let there be light. So I'm fixing to expose all of this crap because we need healing. But healing only takes place after forgiveness. You got to forgive first for the healing to take place. Otherwise, you ain't healed, baby. And everybody else over here ain't healed. But don't nobody want that nasty work, that dirty work. People in families walking around with this spirit of offense on them. I'm offended. You shouldn't say that to me because do you know who I am? Yeah, I know who you are, but do you know who you are? Because you sounding like you puffing yourself up to be bigger than what you are. God don't call you to secrecy. God don't tell you hide this from your children, hide this from your spouse. Only thing he tell you to hide is him hiding you in his secret place. He don't tell you to run from the truth or hide from the truth or don't speak the truth. Especially when he reveres himself as the God that cannot lie and cannot fail. One of his 10 commandments is thou shalt not lie. So why do we as a people have such a hard time with the truth? Even if it's ugly, it's the truth. Why are you upset over the truth? Why are you offended over the truth? If you know that that's the type of time that you are on, why are you lying? Why are you lying? Everything should come out of your mouth should be the truth. Based off the fact that you know you're going to be offended if somebody says something you don't want them to say. Then ma'am, sir, tell the truth. Especially if you don't want nobody to tell it for you. I would say all of that in a nutshell is what I have been going through for the past 3 days.
and I had some revelations. You had some revelations. I have noticed when it comes to the obedience, the word of God and obedience with what the Lord wants you to do, those fights, although they can be stressful and they can be hard, a battle is never easy. I can say it's a level of peace that surrounds you, even though you are in the midst of a chaotic situation, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I can't say that stuff doesn't get makes you unsettled. A buildup of certain emotions and anxiety that, as a believer, that doesn't go away.
No, because we're
human. Seem like you're not doing something right. If you are fully clothed and shielded by the armor of God, then you shouldn't have those feelings. I believe that's not a correct thing to say to a person, because when you get out in the battlefield, you're not battle ready. I can say that the feelings, they're still there, but the anger. Having anger, I can say anger wasn't anywhere around.
Not for me.
Situation. Yeah, for you, I didn't see it in you or me. When at times we very well could have been justified by being angry. Yeah,
but the righteous anger.
Yeah, we didn't have that. What I felt was a level of sadness for the situation, period. But I knew that the Lord was telling me that it is time that we start learning how to mourn and grieve things that we cannot change, fix, things that we cannot change, relationships that even though we have tried to do everything you can do to make that relationship work, it might be good for you to learn how to mourn, not the person, but the relationship.
The relationship, yeah.
You're going to have that as you're out there in your walk, to where you might be going a certain direction, and the person that you hold dear to your heart might not be going in that same direction, and it might be time for you to mourn that situation, especially as a believer. If you are a believer and they are completely the opposite, it doesn't stop you from loving that person, doesn't stop you from caring about that person, but that relationship, because the Lord knows about being equally yoked, it very well might not be a time or the time right now that you guys can be yoked as friends, as family members, because one person is going to pull you down. Or you're going to continue to meet that person's altar, your altar versus their altar, and then you're going to clash. Fights will happen, and instead of having to fight over and over again on the hamster wheel for your sanity, for your family's sanity, you have to mourn that close relationship. You know, I was thinking about the Second Kings and Nahum having the leprosy. You know, it's almost like it feels sometimes like you are a leper in that sense, like you are a cast out, because you are cut from a different cloth. You are bearing different fruit than a lot of the people around you sometimes, depending where you're at. And that will, no matter how good you feel, no matter how much you are a soldier for the Lord, how much you love the Lord, that doesn't stop you from feeling like, well, I'm by myself out here on this planet. I love the Lord. These are my people. These are my friends and relatives. But for some reason, I feel like I'm like Tom Hanks in Castaway. I told you, morning comes when my parents are gone, and sometimes you feel like different relationships can't be made, and they might as well not be 1,000 or 15 million miles away. And sometimes there's nothing you can do, no matter how much you want to change things and no matter how much you want things to be different, you can't make somebody, or you can't force somebody into a situation where they completely move by the fruit of the Spirit and things can change. You aren't in control of that. And I think that's a part of a sobering factor reality
yeah, that's a good word. That's very sobering for me.
Yeah. Because no matter how, you're doing good, you're right, you're living better by the word, you're being righteous. Why can't I be the lightning rod or the conduit for this relationship to change? And because you're working with two different human beings that potentially the other parties could be under different altars, under different covenants that they haven't broken, and there's no interlocking like Lego parts. There's no I would say it like magnets. Like opposite poles of magnets. The Lord is protecting you. You're bouncing off. No matter how much you want to pull together, those poles will forever knock away until the chains on themselves are broken, and you can't do that.
That was good to hear. Like I said, that's a good word. It's been very sobering. The thing about it is that the unforgiveness doesn't just, it gets into one person and stays there. Like the unforgiveness bleeds into other sectors of your life. You begin to just not trust the opposite sex. Like you get into a relationship, everything is suspicious. And it's not because that person necessarily has done something, but it's because it's like, well, the people that I came from wasn't right. Your part of your testimony was you saw your mother do things. And you were like, when you got with me, how long is she going to be true? How long is she going to be tried and true? Because if this woman that gave birth to me did some questionable things, how is this woman that's not related to me and choosing to be with me going to be tried and true?
Quite positive. I'm not the only one who went through that. They don't have the right words.
No.
Sometimes.
It's sometimes people paying prices that they don't even know that they paying. It's not that person necessarily has done something to you. It's because what was done to you, the things that you saw, the things that you felt, the things that you experienced goes into your significant other. Then it goes into your children, your friendships. It bleeds. And if you don't wake up, you don't even realize the damage. And it's crazy because you have control over who you forgive. You don't have control over who forgives you. You control who you forgive, but you don't have any control over who forgives you. So when you have unnecessarily ruined a lot of relationships because you didn't do your due diligence, right? Because God says ain't no excuse gonna stand. We perish for our lack of knowledge. Well, this is the perishing of this relationship because you did not have the lack of knowledge. I mean, you did not have the knowledge. You lacked it, and you can't do nothing about it because from that point on, you have no control. And so it's all of these little things, these little grooves and these little pockets or segues and stuff like that. And it's almost like by the time you wake up, the enemy had you cutting so many cords and planting so many destructive seeds. Like what's the tree? The sycamore tree? The sycamore tree? Like if people Googled that tree and looked at the roots of it, Google a sycamore tree, however you want to say it. Google the roots of that tree and think about how detrimental the roots of the seeds that we allowed the enemy to plant in our lives, how destructive it is. You gotta figure out where to go on how to figure out how to destroy that. Where do you go to destroy that? You go to your Heavenly Father, and you better crack that book open and figure out how you finna destroy these generational curses. And it is so hard for me right now. Lord, I feel like I'm just talking so much.
No, it's fine. But this was so good.
You know, it's just like what I'm looking right here on my journal. I wrote, unforgiveness is dangerous to your health. It's like, it's not even just the your relationships, like your significant other or your friendships or your children. It can destroy your finances. You'll be scared to take risks for financial gain. It could be the greatest deal because somebody messed you up 6 years ago. You still haven't dealt with that unforgiveness. And so now you costing yourself bread. Or how many doors does unforgiveness open to different ailments and diseases? If somebody can get super stressed and develop cancer and they trace it to your stress levels, trace it directly to your stress levels. What do you think unforgiveness does? What unforgiveness can do? Because you can't see stress. You can't see unforgiveness. You can see the aftermath, the detriment that it does, because you see the dissolvement of the relationship. You see the dissolvement of your kids not having nothing to do with you, wanting to have anything to do with you. You see your health declining, but you don't see the unforgiveness. You don't see the stress. You see the aftermath of the unforgiveness, of the stress. But people walk around with this like this junk is a badge of honor. Like, boy, ain't nobody gonna pull a fast one on me. Or a saying that I just truly despise. Oh, I'm just matching energy. No, you devil. I don't want to match your energy. If I'm trying to go higher with God, why would I allow myself to go lower to the pits of hell with you because I want to match your demonic energy? No, baby. But that's another thing that people have taken and ran with it as if that's such a cool saying. Oh, it's so enlightening because you want other people to not mess with you because you think that you this big bad bull, and then people know that you match your energy, then they not gonna come for you. Or people talk about, oh, it's jail or hell behind what's theirs. So you partnering with the enemy so that the enemy can have a well-timed situation or suggestion, and you partner with it because we know that hell and heaven don't have a sense of humor, that your words have power, that you shouldn't be out here talking willy-nilly. You partner with it, something happens, and you gonna lift up your eyes into the pits of hell. All because that's some bull crap that you decided to partner with because you thought that junk was cool. The Lord, the devil gets into people. A demon gets into people sometimes. Or sometimes some people is just pure evil. Sometimes people are just the children of the devil. Because you don't know what type of stuff they got on their bloodline. Like when you look up what's the rapper that died and then he unalived a lot of people, had the locks from Chicago. What's his name? King Von. Mm-hmm. Jesus. King Von. And the officers said a lot of people said that a lot of people did not rush to assist him. If somebody is bleeding out on the street, in the neighborhood in the neighborhood that you come from, that you have terrorized, the community ain't coming for your help and first responders ain't coming for your help. Baby, what type of demon seeds have you sown? What type of hell have you unleashed on this neighborhood? How many families have you broken and dismantled and ripped apart? But people don't want to look at that. Then the flip side of that is that family is hurt and broken. It's always going to be somebody that's trying to put their mouth on you, but that ain't your business. And it's because when God calls you to be the repairer of the breach, you exposing, you calling all of that stuff from darkness into the light because you trying to make sure that your bloodline is set free through God's grace and mercy, through his might and not your own. That your family is gonna hate you. And God is like, baby, if I can get you through this, and I am gonna get you through this, what all that follows behind that is gonna be a piece of cake. It's gonna be a cakewalk. This right now is gonna require some stretching. You're gonna be uncomfortable. but you are going to come out on the other side. And I think my thing is just like, well, Lord, when am I coming out on the other side? And he's like, I just need you to walk. Just need you to walk. Don't worry about nothing. Just worry about walking. So Lord, that's my yes. I'm going to keep walking. Stop looking at me like that before I start crying. Y'all, I hope this blesses somebody, that this has set somebody free. Okay. For our niece listening, for our daughter listening, in real time, to the people that's going to see it on YouTube tomorrow or the next day, to the people that's going to listen to this podcast next week, next month, next year. I truly hope that this turns on a light bulb, that somebody has an aha moment.
Because as the people, and we know we've made a lot of mistakes as people that we have made, we understand. And what makes us good people is knowing that we are accountable for the mistakes that we have made. And when we start to get better, when we start to grow, we start to, and you just make that decision to be a repairer of the breach, to kill off those demons, to destroy those demonic altars, not only for you, but your future and your future lineage. You can't help but to look back at where some of this stuff started, because that's what you're supposed to do. And more often than not, there are going to be people that are from the back, from that past down and that line that you cannot fix.
Yep, and they will still
want to interact and make your life hard. And because those demons they want business as usual. They want more of the same. They want more of broken families. They want more molestation spirits of quietness, not talking, not being able to express themselves, because all that stuff leads to curses for the future. Not being able to speak. Not being able to stand up for yourself, not being able to take what God has anointed you to take out there in the world. If you're quiet and timid and don't want to say and don't want to take your birthright, then you will never receive it. Some of that stuff you will have to take by force. And if you're quiet in that spirit and you have taught your kids just to be quiet and do what I say and not
go
as
along
I do,
to get along,
then you are setting them up for failure. And that's the kind of things we are trying to tell each and every one of you to break. And you can. It just takes accountability, and it takes effort and consistency. And make sure that you continue to have your River Jordan moment. Continue to dip yourself in that dirty water. Remove that pride. Remove things that from you. Ask the Lord to remove those things from you. Your pride, your unrepentantness, all
idolization,
like, and then
it's like, if you can't even, if you like, Lord, remove that stuff from me, you could be like, Lord, help me to let it go. Because sometimes he want to remove the stuff from us, but we be too busy trying to hang on to it. And it's like, Lord, help me to let it go. Take me by the hand and unpry my hand. You got to be very specific. Very specific. I'm sorry, baby. I cut you off. My apology.
No, but you gotta break the shackles. In order to break the shackles, you gotta forgive. You have to have a forgiving spirit, and you have to keep that at the forefront of your minds. Like Carrie said, I hope you found something that blesses you out of this. And you remember to like and subscribe to the channel.
Amen.